Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Programming in Lua. Now, in the last episode, we covered basic functions and of computercraft, navigating through it, and we wrote our Hello World program. Now, we're going to start using variables and conditional statements. Alright, so a variable is basically a term or letter or whatever you really want it to be. It's just basically a shell or link that you designate data to, and whenever you call that data is relayed. Now, example, in math, if x is equal to 7, if you say, like in programming, print x, it would print out the value of x. Now, but in programming, x could also be equal to a name. So it can also hold strings. This is very useful in programming. And let's show it. Oh. That was just me testing things. Okay, let's see here. Edit var for variables. Okay, now let's see here. To designate a variable in ComputerCraft/Lua, there are two ways to do it. We can do a local variable, which is local x is equal to 4. Okay, now see here. We want to print x. Now, no, run var 4, and you see it returned 4. Now, we can also set, like I said, they can also contain strings. No. Boy, you annoy me. There. Okay. Local y is equal to, we have to use quotation marks to designate that it's a string, bomb. Okay. Print y. No, y. Print y. There. Now the program returns 4 and bomb. As you can see, setting the variables, we can set a variable and then we can call it. Now you may be thinking that, oh, we're just printing to a screen, that's not that big of a deal. But for example, you can use variables in a wide manner. For example, we can also do math with them, which is very important in programming. Okay, so we can do local c, just random letter, is equal to x plus 4. That's equals x plus 4. And then we will print c. Let's run the program. So we get 4, and we get Bob, and now we returned 8, which is 4 plus 4. I can show you this better by doing Okay, we can use print y x. See? 4 Bob 4 8. See? Very simple. Variables are very useful, and we can perform simple math functions. Let's get rid of this. Okay. So let's do a basic math problem. If okay, stay. Let's do print x minus 2. Save. Do that. Okay, so we get 4, Bob, and 2. Because 4, which is x, minus 2 is 2. And we can use comments, which allow code, which tells this line of code not to run. It just says skip, forget this line, we don't need it, get rid of it, ignore it. Now, we comment it out, which is a double dash or double minus sign, and anything after the double dash or minus sign will not run. So you can use comments to edit out lines of code that you don't want to delete just yet because you don't know if they're a problem while you're doing bug fixes or you're trying to improve your program. Or you can use them to leave notes in your codes, like this should be 2, which it is. Okay? So, we can also, now, that's done. That's our basic overview of variables. We can use less than, greater than, equal to, well, I might as well show you. Okay. Now we do conditional statements. Conditional statements are, well, conditional statements. Basically, if a condition is met, then execute this code. If not, then do nothing or do this. The most basic and widely used conditional statement is the if-then statement. Let's start by editing that is a long name. State. Let's edit state. Okay. Example. It's set a variable local I is equal to 5. Now, we can, if I equals, this is how we check. We set a variable with 1 equals, but we check with 2 equal signs. Now, if I equals 5, then print this is 5. Hooray! And now at the end of every conditional statement, we have to end it. We have to designate an end. Otherwise, the loop, otherwise it would just keep going and it will not work. It will crash the program. Okay. State. This is 5. Yay! Because I is equal to 5. Now let's refine this a little bit. Okay. Let's say that I is not equal to 5. If I is not, 5, then print this is not 5. Let me look at this real quick. It's something simple and staring me right in the face. I'll be back in a second. Hey, I found out the problem. Derp. So, this is used for other variables. It compares to variables. So, in order to do this, we can set local x is equal to 39. So, if I does not equal x, then print this is not 5. And to help this, we'll print I. We will print x. Save and exit. State. Okay, this I, 39. This is not 5, because I, which is designated as 5, is not 5. So it's basically saying if I is not equal to x, which means it goes in, looks at I, and says, okay, I is 5. Now, we're looking for not equal to. So if I does not equal x, what does x equal? X equals 39. Well, let's see here. I is 5 is not equal to 39. 5 does not equal 39. So, we will print this not 5. Relatively simple, not hard, pretty easy. Yeah. Now, let's backspace all of this, and, okay. Okay, let's see here. Conditional statements. Okay. We've used the equals equals. We've used the not equal. Let's use the less than. So local, I shouldn't have backspaced all that. If we exit out and we get that, we get this, we can just go back. No. Bad. Okay. We'll just keep this simple. Now. Let's see here. Okay. If, I want you down another line. If I is less than x, then print less than. End. Alright, let's run the state program again. Okay, we return 5, 39, and less than, because 5 is less than 39. Now, let's try. Okay, let's try this. If I is... Whoa. I keep hitting Control key. Whoops. Derp. Okay. If I behave, if I is greater than x, print greater than. That's how you spell greater. Yes. Okay. Okay. Um, if I is greater than x, then print greater than, and the end. Let's run the code. It's not working for some reason. Oh, my bad. Trying to think of all the things that I need to do. I forgot a simple fact. That in using this less than statement, or this greater than statement, I mean, since I is not greater than x, it's basically the program is checking if I is greater than x, which it's not, and thus it does not run this line of code. Like I said, conditional statements meet conditions. This is where we can get into an else statement. And this is an if-else. Else print now we run the program and we get 5 and 39, and then checks I, and it says that, okay, is 5 greater than 39? That is false. Okay? Well, if it's not greater than, it must be lesser than. But you're thinking, well, what if it's equal to? We can check that too, using the else if function. Else if I can type properly, else if I is equal to x, then print equal, else print lesser than. So this is going to say that if I is greater than x, which it is not, it will print greater than. Else if, which is another if statement contained within the if statement. So it's basically, if this first if statement is not met, then it checks this if statement. And then once all of the, you can have as many else ifs as you want, but you can only have one else. The else is like your last ditch. Like, if none of the conditions in this conditional are met, then do this, which is what this is. So, let's run the program. State. Alright. Oh, that's fine. Double. 5, 39, lesser than. Because it is not greater than, I is 5, so it's not greater than 39. It is not equal to 39. And thus it's like, okay, well if it's not greater than and it's not equal to, then it has to be lesser than. So end. Now, this is pretty useful. Now, let's go over a different kind of if statement. The if-or statement. And let's just do this. If I equals 5 or x is equals 39, then print I is equal to 5 and x is equal to 39. Keep hitting my control key. And we have to be sure to end the statement. You know what? Let's just leave this without the end statement. Let's see what happens. We're getting a string. It's telling us that line 10 and end is expected to close an if, which starts at line 7. This is very helpful because it basically tells you, okay, you're fine, your if statement is fine, but at line 10 there should be an end. So this is a debugger tool. It's very nice to have, and it's just a lot easier to use. So let's go back to state, and let's see here. We'll just end this statement. Once we end it, we save it, we exit it, we go to state. 5, 39, I is equal to 5, and x is equal to 39. Because the conditional checks if I equals 5, or x equals 39, then print I is equal to 5, and x is equal to 39. But what if you're saying, well, yeah, because you set both conditions. Well, let's try this. What if one of those variables is not equal? What happens? Well, let's try and, or. Now, this is just for demonstrational purposes. Let's change this to 7. See, the code still runs because x is equal to 39. This is a really bad example, and I'm trying to demonstrate another thing. And okay, we'll use. Now, let's try this. State. It returns nothing because I is equal to 7. And this is checking, well, does I equal 5? No, it does not. Well, what does x equal? Does it equal 39? Yes, it does. But since I is not equal to 5, we don't run this code. So, yeah, this is a way that you can check for multiple conditions. And it's very nice to have. You can check multiple variables, I mean. Very nice to have, and let's see what happens when we set I to 5, and we run state. I is equal to 5, and x is equal to 39. Better example than or. Or is just used for comparing if you're looking for, okay, I want this or this. I don't really care just as long as one of them is there. I'm fine. And is looking specifically for, okay, does this equal this? Yes. Okay, then what about this? Does this equal this? Yes, it does. Okay, we're good. Let's run this code. We're good. Else then, we're not going to run this part of the code, in which we couldn't incorporate another else statement or else if statement to have other possibilities. Yeah. And that's it for this episode of conditional statements and variables. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.